been won. German plans for an invasion were postponed. Hitler prepared for a new war, an invasion of the Soviet Union. Terror in the East. By the spring of 1941, Hitler had decided to break the pact with Stalin. Under the codename Operation Barbarossa, he planned the invasion of the Soviet Union. The Führer's strategy for genocide was recorded in the diary of his Chief of Staff, General Franz Halder.
Meeting with the Führer. He talks about Barbarossa. He says we must get away from the idea of soldierly comradeship. This is a war of extermination. The struggle will be very different from the one in the West. In the East, toughness now means mildness in the future. The leaders must make sacrifices and overcome their scruples.
3 million men began to move to the east. 21-year-old Adolf Goertz from Cologne wrote about the confusion.
6th of June 1941. Lots of rumors. You can feel that something big is going to happen. For weeks now, military trains have been rolling day and night to the east. Why are all these troops being taken to the east? We have a treaty with the Russians. Shouldn't we be fighting England? Shouldn't we be finishing off the Tommies?
On the eve of Operation Barbarossa, officers toasted the largest invasion force in history. On the 22nd of June, Adolf Goertz heard that German troops had crossed the border.
At first we couldn't believe it. Heinz stormed into our room and yelled, "War! We have war with Russia!" Now war has really started. But everyone thinks that the war will be over in 4 weeks. The Führer must know what he's doing.
In Leningrad, student Yelena Skryabina listened to the Soviet Foreign Minister Molotov on the radio.
Molotov was talking fast, as if he was short of breath. His encouraging appeal sounded completely out of place. I immediately felt as if a threatening, slow-moving monster was approaching and frightening everyone in its path.
Over 3,000 tanks attacked on 3 fronts, stretching nearly 1,000 miles from the Baltic to the Black Sea. On the 28th of June, Soviet soldier Alexander Golikov wrote to his wife.
Dear Tonichka, I don't know whether you will ever read these words, but I know for sure that this is my last letter. A fight is on, a heated, deadly fight. Our tank has been hit. Fascists are all around us. The Ostrovsky Street is filled with corpses. They look like large, motionless lizards. It is unbearably hot, and I'm thirsty. Your portrait is lying on my knees. I am looking at it into your light blue eyes. Don't cry. You probably won't come to my grave. Will I have a grave?
The day he wrote this letter, Alexander Golikov was killed. The German advance was rapid, up to 40 miles a day, capturing vast areas of the Soviet Union. Arkady Pervantsev, Russian war correspondent.
Each day is full of human and Russian tragedy. The war goes on, tragic and cruel. Smolensk has fallen, Bessarabia, Tiraspol, Zhytomyr, Minsk, Riga, Orsha, Bobruisk, Novograd-Volhynsky, Kamenetsk-Podolsky, and many others. All have fallen. The Ukraine is ablaze. Belorussia is burning. The fire of war is approaching Central Russia.
Over 3 million Soviet soldiers were captured. German private Benno Ziza witnessed the tragic procession.
We suddenly saw a broad, earth-brown crocodile slowly shuffling down the road towards us. From it came a subdued hum, like that from a beehive. Prisoners of war, Russians. We quickly moved away from the foul cloud that surrounded them. Then, what we saw transfixed us, and we forgot our nausea. Were these really human beings? These grey-brown figures? These shadows lurching towards us? Moving shapes at their last gasp? Creatures which only some last flicker of will to live enabled them to march. All the misery of the world seemed to be concentrated here.
Battlefield brutality and years of propaganda had created a hatred and a contempt which made the killing of prisoners permissible. 21-year-old Hugo Lapp was a gunner with Panzer Group 23.
Dear Mother, each time when I look in the faces of the captured Russians and I see the scum of their Asian vile, then I am convinced over and over again that this battle is necessary to guarantee the survival of our homeland and culture. Often we don't have time to take prisoners, and in order that they can't attack us from our backs, we bump them off, there and then. All this killing requires strong nerves. One of our lads couldn't take it any longer. He killed himself. He leaves a wife, parents, and 2 children behind. Yours always, your youngest son.
In 6 months, 600,000 Soviet prisoners of war died. In August 1941, Hitler visited the Eastern Front. Euphoric from German victories, the vision of a 1,000-year Reich, a new world order, was still clear in the mind of the Führer. German tanks were approaching Moscow. In the Soviet capital, there was panic and fear of total collapse. German Colonel Kress shared the Führer's confidence.
September 1941. There is no need for us to be in a hurry for Moscow. The fact that the Russians are throwing more and more troops against us makes no difference to us. We will take Moscow when we want to.
But the Germans were beginning to respect their enemy.
The Russians are very tenacious in defense, and particularly skillful in constructing fortifications. We cannot deny the Bolsheviks' courage and contempt for death. We have not been confronted by such an opponent before.
By December 1941, the Germans had still failed to take Moscow. There would be many years of bloodshed ahead. Then, the United States entered the war.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
After President Roosevelt addressed the nation, George Rademacher of the U.S. Navy wrote in his diary,
"Well, it's come at last. Japan has bombed the naval base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, and the city of Honolulu. Listen to flashes over the radio. The consensus of opinion is that the whole world will be in actual conflict by this afternoon.
A European conflict had become a world war.